Are you ready for some databases? Yep. The need for speed. So we will have a really exciting day today on databases. So I am Andi Gutmans, General Manager and VP of Engineering for Google Cloud Databases. And I'm super excited today to share with you what's new and what's next for our databases. Joining me on stage will be Ritika, Gunnar, Senior Product Management in the database team, Sundar, Narasimhan, SVP of Sabre Labs and Product Strategy, and a fantastic group of demo presenters. There's nothing like demos, so we have plenty of them in today's session. So it's no surprise to anyone in this audience that generative AI has really captured our imagination. And it has opened up new possibilities in all facets of our daily lives, from text and image generation, like you saw in today's keynote with Thomas, to immersive collaboration tools, and even to augmented search experiences. Gen AI is the key to unlocking value in the enterprise. And it really has the power to transform customer experiences and employee productivity. And we're going to talk about both of those today. We believe we're entering a post-training era. Large language models, also referred to as LLMs, are really democratizing access to AI for developers. No longer do developers need to be experts in deep learning, but rather know how to best take advantage of LLMs. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there's 10 times more developers than data scientists. So imagine if we can put AI into developers' hands, we'll have at least an order of magnitude more innovation from AI. And so as a result, we believe that application developers will be driving the bulk of the innovation in applying generative AI within the enterprise. Now, these developers are going to be looking for the best ways to leverage and integrate Gen AI into both new and existing applications. And they're also best positioned to take advantage of the power of LLMs with application data to deliver the best and most interesting innovation in the enterprise. We think about this shift as the shift to generative engineering, or as I like to call it in short, Gen Eng. Just as developers integrated ops practices into software development, and we called it DevOps, and the DevOps movement started, we really see Gen Eng as the revolution being led by developers who have proficiency in applying Gen AI. And with the rise of Gen Eng, the real value for enterprise comes when developers are combining generative AI with their proprietary data to provide accurate, domain-specific experiences. And so because of that, and because operational database sit at the heart of all application data, they really play a critical role in how developers will ultimately build these new AI-assisted experiences. Now, at Google Cloud, we offer industry-leading databases for any size organization. This includes a broad set of innovative databases, both relational and non-relational, such as AlloyDB, Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner, Firestore, Bigtable, and more. And we see leading organizations such as Equifax, Deutsche Bank, Renault, Sabre, Yahoo, and others modernizing their application stacks and building new applications with Google Cloud databases. Now let's hear from one such customer, Character AI, about how they're using AlloyDB and Spanner to power their generative AI apps.
Character AI is a generative AI platform that allows users to both create characters with personalities that feels alive and engage with these characters in a way that is almost indistinguishable from human interaction. Millions of users use Character for millions of different use cases. Gaming and entertainment, book recommendations, recipes, and life coaching. The database is the center of any application. Since the migration to AlloyDB, we actually serve 5 times the query volume at half the query latency and confidently provide a reliable service to our users with very high uptime. Spanner is best-in-class distributed system that is known throughout the industry to be rock solid and allows us to ingest terabytes of data every day without any worry that we're going to bring the site down. Character AI's goal is to scale one of the fastest growing consumer products on the market, and that means getting to 1 billion users. And with Google Cloud, I know we can get there.
I just love what Character AI are doing, and thanks so much for your partnership, James. Now, in order to help organizations like Character AI innovate faster, we're focusing on 3 key areas. First of all, providing operational databases with built-in Gen AI. Second, breaking down the silos between transactional and analytical systems. And lastly, helping you modernize your database estates by migrating off legacy proprietary databases. Now, let me start with Gen AI. Today, Gen AI applications face a variety of challenges that LLMs alone do not solve. First, they need to provide accurate and up-to-date information. Second, you want to deliver contextual user experiences. And last, we need to enable developers to innovate quickly and make it easy for them to build and operate their applications. Now, databases with vector support are what we see as the bridge between LLMs and enterprise Gen AI apps. Now, here's why. First, databases generally can provide the most up-to-date data for augmenting LLM prompts. And this helps us ground LLMs for accuracy and relevance. And by combining data from your production databases with the power of LLMs, your Gen AI apps will provide accurate answers based on real-time data. Second, much of this data, especially conversational data, is unstructured. And vector embeddings can encode the semantic meaning of this unstructured data, like product descriptions, help desk tickets, and conversation history. This allows your applications to bring relevant unstructured data from your database to the LLM-based experience, enabling immersive semantic search and complex history-based conversations. And lastly, the best part is you can do it within your database, right? The database that you trust and love, and they're already supported by a robust ecosystem with the business-critical reliability, data protection, and performance you expect. And developers are already so familiar with them, they don't have to learn or set up new systems. Now, Postgres has emerged as the industry-leading relational database because of its rich functionality, ecosystem, and thriving community. And according to Stack Overflow, it is the most popular database in use today by professional developers, with over half of them choosing Postgres. And we're seeing a lot of innovation in the Postgres community around vector search, such as extensions like pgvector. So these are really, really exciting times to be part of the Postgres community. And the combination of vector search and SQL really enables these very expressive, powerful design patterns while remaining simple and familiar. Now, we already support the best Postgres-compatible database with AlloyDB, and AlloyDB runs anywhere. It runs in the cloud, it runs on premises, it runs at the edge, but we wanted to do more. And so we asked our customers what they needed as part of their Gen AI application development journey. And here's what we heard. First, it's got to be easy and integrated. Second, it needs to run everywhere. And then lastly, it needs to perform well because our customers are building very interactive experiences. So we went off and we innovated. And as you heard in Thomas's keynote today, we announced AlloyDB AI. AlloyDB AI provides PG vector compatible search that is up to 10 times faster than standard Postgres. So you can really get those interactive experiences using AlloyDB AI. It also allows you to generate vector embeddings directly from within your database and fully integrates with Vertex AI and the open source GenAI ecosystem. And as an integral part of AlloyDB, AlloyDB AI runs everywhere. So not just in Google, pretty much anywhere you want it to run. Now let's double click on some of these key features within AlloyDB AI. First, our PG vector compatible search was tightly integrated into the AlloyDB query processing engine, which gives us up to 10 times better performance, as I mentioned. In addition, we've added vector quantization support, so we can actually support vectors that are 4 times larger than standard Postgres. Second, AlloyDB automates embeddings generation to easily transform that unstructured operational data into vector embeddings, simplifying your GenAI app development. That includes automatically generating embeddings using remote models in Vertex AI. And we've even brought in some lightweight models into AlloyDB AI. So for some lightweight use cases, you can actually generate those embeddings within the database itself. And that simplifies the stack, significantly improves latencies, and dramatically reduces cost. And lastly, AlloyDB AI fully integrates with Vertex AI and open source tools such as LangChain to best support developers. So in summary, AlloyDB now provides everything you need, really the key capabilities you need to build and run enterprise GenAI apps. And we're going to continue to innovate on AlloyDB AI as quickly as we can based on your feedback. It is available in preview today through the downloadable AlloyDB Omni that runs everywhere, and soon will be launched on the AlloyDB managed service. Now let's take a look at AlloyDB AI in action with Sandy Guy.
Thanks, Andi. Let's explore how easy it is to build a GenAI-enabled experience using this functionality. And just to show you guys how open this platform is and how easy it is to take advantage of wherever you are, I'm actually going to demo this on AWS with AlloyDB Omni. We're building an app for Symbol Superstore, a home improvement store with locations across the country. Today, we have a simple application built on our database, but we'd like to build a more interactive experience where customers bring us the problems they're looking to solve, just like they do in person when they interact with our friendly, helpful associates. So we decided to incorporate an LLM to power a chat application. Let's consider a simple use case. A customer enters the Redwood City store and asks the question, "What kind of fruit tree would grow well in my backyard?" This is the response of an LLM without any additional context. That's great, except we don't have any apple or fig trees in stock. So let's make this better by grounding the LLM in our own operational data. Let's take a look at our AlloyDB instance in my SQL notebook. Now, we've already migrated our data into AlloyDB Omni, so my product catalog and inventory data is already here. With a single line of SQL, I can add a column that will automatically generate vector embeddings from my product descriptions. This simple Postgres function calls a remote model in Vertex AI, text embeddings gecko, to transform my data into embeddings. I could also use a local model that runs on the database itself with no need for specialized hardware. Now, in the interest of time, I've already computed embeddings on 30,000 rows for each product in my product catalog and created an index. So how do we use these embeddings to make our LLM more actionable? First, I construct our prompt in Generative AI Studio. As you can see here, my prompt provides guidance for the LLM on the user and how to answer the question. As part of the prompt, I want to feed the LLM a list of candidate products to draw from. In a perfect world, I'd feed the LLM all of my in-stock products, but that exceeds our LLM token limits. Instead, let's try to feed the LLM 10 highly relevant candidate products. So jumping back to my notebook, I have my products table. And as you can see, I have my new product embeddings column there. And I have my inventory table. Great. So to construct my query, I need to join these two tables, filter for in-stock items in the Redwood City store, and then sort based on similarity to the user's query string using pgvector. Let's run this query. That was pretty fast. As Andi mentioned, AlloyDB runs vector queries 10x faster than standard Postgres. OK, so now I found 10 candidate products. It looks pretty good. OK, so now let's feed all of this to the LLM, including the user's input and the candidate products. I'm going to convert these to JSON. And then go back to my generative AI studio prompt and paste them in here. Remember, the user's question was, what kind of fruit tree would grow well in my backyard? Amazing, I have a result. Let's see. A Meyer lemon tree. That's in stock. I love that because it's not only a great recommendation for this user, but they can walk out of the store with it today. Because I asked the LLM to return the product ID as part of its response, I can validate the response and provide the user with more information, like photos and location in the store. This is what the end user experience looks like to the customer. And if I follow up with something, like what do I need to do for it to grow well here, we can follow the same process. Generate a list of candidate products based on the question and previous LLM interactions, feed that to the LLM, and have it use the products to generate a recommendation. As you can see, the key to making this feel rich, personalized, actionable, and enterprise grade is the combination of your data with LLMs. And AlloyDB AI makes that super easy. No extra ML stack, no moving data around, no convoluted application architecture, just a few lines of SQL. Thanks. And now I'm passing this back to Andi.
Great, thank you. So two things I love about that demo. First, it just shows you how easy it is to kind of bring vector search into your SQL. And of course, the second one, it ran on AWS. That was a live demo on AWS, and that really shows you that you can actually use AlloyDB Omni everywhere. Now, switching gears, as you heard in the opening keynote, Duet AI in Google Cloud is an always-on collaborator that uses generative AI to help cloud users of all types accomplish what they need to accomplish better and faster. For example, developers are often challenged in writing and optimizing complex database queries, so we decided to help them. Today, we're excited to announce the preview of Duet AI in Cloud Spanner. With Duet AI in Cloud Spanner, you can generate code to structure, modify, or query your data using natural language. With Duet AI in Cloud Spanner, it will automatically generate SQL that can be reviewed or modified by developers so they can spend more time innovating and less time writing and optimizing their SQL code. Now let's look at the power of Duet AI in Cloud Spanner with Kat Coleman.
Thanks, Andi. Let's say I am working at a fictitious gaming company, Symbol Games. Lately, we've been having a problem with player churn, and I've been asked to dive in and help identify a list of players that we think are at risk of leaving our game. Here's how I can use Duet AI to quickly and seamlessly complete this using natural language prompts. To start, I navigate to the new Spanner Studio in the Cloud Console, where I can structure, modify, and query my game's data. I want to see the number of active players in the last 30 days to see how we're trending.
In natural language, I asked Duet AI how to query this data. Duet AI automatically suggests SQL code that I can then explore and modify.
I see the numbers are a little lower than usual. I can use a machine learning model to predict which players are at risk of churn right now.
Great. Duet AI returns the number of at-risk players we have right now.
To prevent these players from churning, I'm going to give them some player appreciation tokens with a little more help from Duet AI.
And voila! Using Duet AI in Cloud Spanner, I was able to breeze through a sophisticated task using natural language prompts, all inside the new Spanner Studio.
Woo-hoo. So this is super powerful, as you can see. You may have also heard we announced something very similar on BigQuery today. So you're going to have this kind of experience also on BigQuery. And rest assured, I know the next question is going to be like, when does it come to Cloud SQL? When does it come to AlloyDB? We definitely have an intention to also bring these kind of capabilities to our other database services. Now, as you saw in Thomas's keynote today, Duet AI will also simplify the last mile of complex database migrations from Oracle to Postgres. And we will cover that later on in this session, so we can tell you how Duet AI is actually going to help accelerate that. Now I'm going to hand it over to Ritika to talk about how we're unifying transactional and analytical systems.
Hi, how's everyone doing? Some great database announcements, and we're going to keep the drumbeat going. So, data has always been a critical ingredient for the successful application of AI. And that's why our second focus area is around unifying our data and AI cloud by breaking down the barriers between transactional and analytical systems to deliver the freshest and most contextually relevant data to apps and to decision making. So one example of this is Data Stream for BigQuery, which provides a simple and easy real-time data replication from transactional databases like AlloyDB, Postgres, MySQL, and Oracle directly into BigQuery. Today, Data Stream for BigQuery serves thousands of customers and processes over 500 billion events every single month. Now, we've also delivered query federation capabilities with Cloud Spanner, Cloud SQL, and Bigtable, making data available right from the BigQuery console, allowing you to analyze your transactional data in real time. But we wanted to build on these capabilities and provide a truly innovative way to democratize operational data for analytical purposes. And that's why today we're announcing the general availability of Cloud Spanner Data Boost. This is a breakthrough technology delivering high-performance, workload-isolated, on-demand processing of operational data to support analytics, reporting, and more. Data Boost takes advantage of Google's disaggregated compute and storage architecture and provides on-demand isolated compute resources to process analytical queries directly on the storage layer with virtually no impact to the existing transactional workload. With Data Boost, users can analyze their Cloud Spanner data via BigQuery, via Spark on Dataproc. They can export it using Dataflow, or they can use it in their own custom applications. And because these resources are fully managed by Google with a pay-per-use model, it provides a cost-effective, secure, and scalable architecture without any additional management overhead. Cloud Spanner Data Boost is federation done right. Now, let's take a look at Data Boost in action. I'd like to welcome my colleague, Gabe Weiss, to the stage to give us a live demo to show us the power of Data Boost. Welcome, Gabe.
Hi, everyone. I've been given the impossible task of demonstrating awesome database performance live on stage. What you're totally not seeing me do right now is theoretically, kicking off a couple of queries, both because I need you to see me doing it live, so I can prove to you that there is no tricks, no magic, nothing up my sleeves, and because I need to be able to show you the impact, or in this case, no impact, because Data Boost is awesome, that these operations are going to have on our database. The Spanner instance we're using is emulating a database for a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. This particular instance is tracking all of our player activity around their inventory and in-game currency. It's currently sitting at just over 3 terabytes of data, and the table that we'll be interacting with has over 4 billion rows. In our game, the monetization folks monitor the player activity in near real time, so they can adjust offers on the fly during live events and do deeper analytics for future events. These folks want to constantly analyze live player activity that lives in Spanner, combined with the historical data and analytics living in BigQuery. All this has to happen without impacting our transactional workload. Because what happens if our inventory system lags in game? Our players are going to figure out how to exploit it. They'll duplicate their items, ruin our in-game economy. Now I've got a big problem. So before I dive into what interesting things that our analysts are trying to do to our data, I want you to take note of the database name so I can prove to you that all of this is happening against the same Spanner database, GameDB. We have 2 external connections from BigQuery. They're both against GameDB. The only difference is that one is not using Data Boost and one is using Data Boost, okay? Next, I want to show you our CPU utilization graph. We've taken the game servers offline so that I can really show you what's happening. And right about now, you might be saying to yourself, hey, Gabe, wait a second. I totally see CPU spikes on that graph. I thought you said Data Boost was supposed to prevent that from happening, and you're right, it does. Let's take a look at the timestamp here. So 4:02, if you're keeping track of time, I wasn't even on stage yet. So let me show you. This is the window where I ran the query before I came on stage. Look at the creation time, 4:01. Lines up with our CPU spike. So this is the query that ruined our economy. The query analyzes the players that have been dealing in the highest value items across the last 75 days, so we know who to target with our in-game ads. Now, here is the window that I ran at the beginning of our demo. It's the same SQL query, but I want you to take note, our connection string, this one ran with Data Boost enabled. And if you remember, at the beginning, I kicked off a couple of queries, because one query just wasn't dangerous enough for me. So this is a notebook that runs a Spark job that calculates the rolling retention of our entire player base. In other words, give me a list of all the players that have traded at least one item in the specified week or any week thereafter. It's a very intense calculation that ends up scanning most of our 4 billion rows. And if you note in the notebook, here we have again, same database, Data Boost enabled true. All right, is everyone ready to see some magic? Back to our CPU graph. I'm going to go ahead and refresh it on the last hour. All right, here we have our PR nightmare-inducing CPU spike caused by the no Data Boost connection. And here is the timestamp at the beginning of this demo. I'd like you to note there is no spike. So Data Boost has successfully isolated our analysts' queries and avoided ruining our in-game economy. Everything you saw here today is detailed in a blog post so that you can recreate this in your environment. Please don't take my word for it. We've got more demos in the showcase area of the expo floor and at the Innovators Hive. Come on by and chat. Thanks. Back to you, Ritika.
Wasn't that a fantastic demo showing you the power of Data Boost? Well, this is why customers such as Cirque, a Brazilian financial institution, are quickly adopting Data Boost to benefit from real-time analytics on Spanner data. Now, to further break down the silos between transactional and analytical data, we're also making it easier to ingest data from BigQuery back to operational databases like Bigtable with just a few clicks. Applications often need data from their data warehouse for use cases such as personalization or recommendations. However, typically getting such data into operational databases means filing very laborious ETL jobs or filing help tickets from your data engineers. But we think there's a better way to where a developer can get the data directly into their data warehouse, directly from their data warehouse into their operational databases using self-service native ETL capabilities. Today, we're excited to announce reverse ETL support from BigQuery into Bigtable. With the new BigQuery export to Bigtable feature, applications can serve analytical insights to their users without having to touch any ETL tools. This feature is available for sign-up and preview. Now, these are some of the ways we're bringing truly differentiated capabilities to unify our data and AI workloads across the entire data lifecycle. But don't take my word for it. One customer who's built a data and AI foundation across Google's data and AI cloud is Sabre. Sabre is a software technology company that powers the global travel industry, processing more than 12 billion shopping requests across 1 billion travelers every year. Let's welcome to the stage SVP, President of Sabre Labs and Product Strategy, Sundar Narasimhan, to talk about how they're partnering with Google to transform their business. Sundar, welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's kind of afternoon, isn't it? My name is Sundar Narasimhan. I also lead enterprise architecture and platform engineering at Sabre. And today, from a customer viewpoint, I thought I'd share with you our journey to Google Cloud, tell you a little bit about what Sabre does, how we've approached the process of migration, and then spend a little bit time talking about databases in particular, and leave you with a few thoughts about what I think the future might look like. I've been really excited to hear Ritika, Andi, and others showcase some of the really cool, I'd say, innovations in this space. And over the next few minutes, we'll cover a few of those. So what is Sabre? I know probably not many of you know us. We are a company that we aspire to be a global premier technology platform in travel. And we operate in two sort of business units. Airline Solutions, as part of Travel Solutions, we really run what are called passenger service systems that provide retailing, distribution, and fulfillment for some of the world's largest airlines. You may recognize American Airlines, JetBlue, Alaska, and even other countries, other airlines across the globe, LATAM and Go, et cetera. We also run a travel marketplace. We take those airlines and we connect the content that they provide to sellers across the globe. And we do the same sort of thing for hoteliers, and that's really what the Hospitality Solutions business unit is. And in the marketplace that we sell, we have 400 airlines, maybe 1 million plus hotels, and about 50,000 odd agencies. Some of them are online. Priceline, you may have heard of eTravel Group, but also that's not only leisure travelers, but business travelers. You may have heard of Amex GBT, CWT. So in short, we really sit at the middle of travel transactions, and we're a B2B company, predominantly been in business for several decades. And when we thought about what it would take to take this company, which had a plethora of technologies running from mainframes, mid-ranges, we really started with thinking through not just migrating to the cloud and learning to operate. In fact, the people enablement side of it, really we have one of the largest trained workforces in Google Cloud. But we really said that wasn't enough. We needed to transform the company, the way we operate, the way we think about developing solutions for our customers, for end users, for travelers. And Sabre, for all of our existence, has been one about innovation. And we said, not only do we need to migrate, put our platforms in the cloud, but they need to facilitate the innovations that travelers need, and we all want to expect from a platform company such as Sabre. And databases are at the core of all of this. And if you hark back, and many of you are enterprise companies that, if you ask, and if you've been in the business for a couple of decades, Sabre we had pretty much one of everything. We had in operational databases, we had mainframes, we had large Oracle everywhere, and we also had document databases, Couchbase, and object-oriented databases, Ritika. And on the analytical side, again, we had pretty much Teradata, Ritika, we ran our own Hadoop clusters. And when we thought about where we wanted to go, it wasn't just about migrating every one of those into Google Cloud, but as Ritika said, what was actually happening in the database industry is this unification that she talked about. The unification of transactional data with what you might call analytical data, because if you look at the trends of storage, compute, these we realized were going to converge. And in order to create that innovative new applications that our customers wanted, it was about embedding travel AI in all of our applications. We examined all of our suite, and we identified over 60 such use cases where travel AI, those little, what I call raisins in the loaf of bread, that would really enhance our product offering to our customers. And not only are we going to embed this AI application in this, call it integrated data ecosystem, but we also needed to connect end-to-end applications that all of our use cases up over the top that you see, in effect, taking advantage of the new AI capabilities that would enable them to make even more money, make enhanced user experiences possible for all of us as travelers. And if you looked at what's different about Sabre compared to maybe other database users or companies, most of our databases are enterprise class, have lots of PII, PCI, if you all probably typed your passport in international travel. PCI data, obviously, we pay with credit cards. And GDPR, privacy, is very important. And so the security and compliance requirements of these databases are immense. And the consistency requirements have been in place since the 60s and 70s when some of these databases were put in place. In fact, the early days of Sabre, advertisements literally had pictures of people with people sitting on the same seat, like multiple people on the same seat. Because until Sabre came along, even seat assignments were not done in a consistent way. And if you look at availability, we say how many nines, right? 5, 4, 6. In fact, we have SLA penalties. If we drop or have outages, not only do we get written in the paper, we make all of you traveling public suffer. We want to get home or to an important business meeting. So these kind of requirements are really what we live by, we breathe, and we think about. And in terms of how we ended up using these plethora of database products that you heard Andi and others talk about, the key point I would like to leave with you is to really think about the contextual use cases. When you have strong transactional consistency requirements without compromising on scalability or performance, Spanner is a great choice. And in fact, the PNR, those 6-character locators that you kind of see in your itinerary confirmations, right? Those are called passenger name records. And that complex is perhaps one of the most demanding in terms of performance. And when we lifted it and made it run on Spanner, it wasn't easy, right? It was, in effect, required while we satisfied the ACID requirements, we connected it using PubSub to other multiple regional Spanner replicas that were optimized for read performance. So I'd encourage you to think about that kind of what you might call use cases where Spanner really shines. On the bottom, there are the use cases, not all of, if you want to be cost effective, there are other use cases. We sell products, and I've listed a couple of them there, where we provide market intelligence or global demand data to our customers. And for those kind of use cases, the other databases that, such as AlloyDB or Cloud SQL are perfect matches. And last but not the least, at the very top, as I mentioned, we had a lot of Oracle databases, and in order to realize our shutdown of our on-prem data centers in a timely fashion, we literally move them to essentially the bare metal solution on Oracle. And we still continue to run some of them, but I'm in the process of migrating, as Andi kind of previewed, our databases and consolidating them in an integrated form that we actually hope to go forward with in the future. And if you were to say, like, okay, where are you there? Sabre, in our migration journey, we're about a third of our 10-year journey. And we would say about 90% of our workloads are in the public cloud. And it's been a great partnership with Andi and his team. They literally sit team by, with our engineers, work very closely with their engineers to get us to where we are. And in terms of the future, what really excites us is really all the things you heard about today in terms of generative AI and AI in general. That Vertex AI product on which our travel AI products are built is going to be, I think, a key for us as a business going forward. And in fact, one of the engineers, we had a hackathon just 3 weeks ago, he said, if you're not using LLMs every day as a programmer, you're falling behind. And not only is it important to get the productivity improvements, but in terms of automation, in terms of reducing costs that in call center applications or help desk applications, all of those are going to be very important with this generative AI and LLM technology. And the second part is also important, this unification that Ritika talked about in terms of transactional and analytical databases. I'd go one step further and say operational data. In fact, in the keynote, you saw a demonstration of an alert triggering a processing step together all the way through analytical to even operational data. And those kinds of use cases are real value to not only our B2B customers, they make the lives of end travelers be much more enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, travel is really about connecting to the people and places you love, and that's the mission that we all see as primary in our business in Sabre. And last but not the least, we often talk about data as silos within our own company, and I think it's important that as these convergences happen, companies find new ways of collaborating across each other. We didn't talk too much about products like Analytics Hub, which enable our partners, coalitions, those airlines and hotels, to come together and provide new products, new ways of exploring, new ways of really buying and experiencing travel that isn't possible today. So with that, I'd leave you. Tomorrow there's actually another session with Joe DeFonso, our CIO, who's going to talk about more migrations. If you're interested in it, I encourage you to go to that session. With that, I hand it back to Ritika.
Sundar, thank you. That was such a great transformational story. It's been a pleasure working with Sundar and his team and the entire Sabre team on their data and AI transformation. So let's move to our third theme for innovation, which is centered on assisting you in developing modern and data-driven applications with an emphasis on being open. Now, open means enabling you to build your solutions wherever you need, whether that be on-premises, whether that be across various public clouds, or at the edge. It also means making managed database services available with open standards and open APIs while supporting your mission-critical workloads. And lastly, it means fostering an open partner ecosystem of solutions designed to help you move faster. Now, we've heard from many of you asking us to help you modernize your database workloads as quickly and as easily as possible. And we answered that call with AlloyDB. You heard Andi and Sundar talk about the benefits of AlloyDB, including the newly added GenAI innovations with AlloyDB AI. We're thrilled to announce that today, AlloyDB Omni, the downloadable edition of AlloyDB, is moving from technology preview into public preview. AlloyDB Omni is designed to run everywhere, on Google Cloud, on AWS, Azure, on premises, and even on your laptop. Since its initial launch, we've added many new features to AlloyDB Omni. We've added many of the GenAI capabilities, including AlloyDB AI, that Andi discussed earlier. We've also incorporated additional performance benefits, and we had added support for Postgres 15. We've also added extra utilities to simplify the management of AlloyDB Omni. We're also announcing support for AlloyDB Omni as another choice in our database service for Google Cloud Distributed Hosted, which is our air-gapped private cloud environment for regulated customers. AlloyDB Omni meets you where you are and can take you where you need to go in your database modernization journey. And we've made it easier than ever to migrate from legacy databases. Today, we're also excited to announce the general availability of Oracle to Postgres migration to support our database migration service. We're making it fast and easy to help enterprises migrate their schema, their data, their PL SQL code from Oracle to Postgres. And it doesn't stop there. We're also excited to bring the power of Duet AI to Oracle to Postgres migrations, and including AlloyDB, which is now available for sign-up in preview. With Duet AI and DMS, we'll offer AI-assisted code conversion to automate the conversion of database code, such as stored procedures, functions, triggers, packages, custom PL SQL code, all of this to Postgres. So let's take a moment to see it in action. Now, we're going to start by seeing the magic. You saw the magic of Duet AI this morning in the keynote. I pre-recorded a demo here, and let's see in more detail how easy it is to migrate your Oracle databases to AlloyDB. I'll start here by opening up the console. This is your one-stop shop to create and manage all of my database migrations. First, I'll open up the conversion workspace I pre-created. I've already selected the Oracle schema I'd like to convert. On the left, you can see that DMS doesn't just convert the schema objects like tables and views, but also the stored procedures and functions. I'll click Convert, and DMS starts converting the schema. After the initial conversion, it looks like there's still some issues. In the past, these would have to be manually updated, which would be both time-consuming and error-prone. But now, with the power of Duet AI, I can automate these and address these last-mile conversions. Let's see it in action. Here, you can now see the Oracle tree that includes all the objects I selected in the previous step. I can now view the AlloyDB Postgres tree also, which shows me how DMS converted the source. For each object, there's a side-by-side comparison that you see here that shows the corresponding Oracle and Postgres dialect. You can see here, these are the items that didn't convert. See the errors and warnings? Normally, I'd have to fix these manually. Thanks to the power of Duet AI, I only have to show the system how to address a few. Let's try it out. In this conversion, we have a specific problem because assist_state is an Oracle-specific function, which, depending on the context, doesn't have a Postgres equivalent. Therefore, the translation requires a manual intervention. As soon as I manually fix the issue, Duet AI over here kicks in. Check it out. Duet AI has learned enough to propose a fix for the remaining objects. In this screen, I can navigate through the various suggestions and review the proposed conversions. I can accept, reject, or modify the suggestions. We're going to accept all the suggestions here. Now, with no outstanding issues, I'm now ready to move the converted schema to AlloyDB. Now, with the biggest and most complex steps out of the way, I can quickly and easily migrate my jobs, and I'm well underway. Now, wasn't that amazing? It's no wonder that customers like Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group are looking to AlloyDB for their most demanding workloads. And they're already in the process of migrating several Oracle databases. Now, being open also means being committed to delivering the best open source compatible managed services so that you can spend more time innovating and less time on managing the plumbing of your databases. We're dedicated to making Google Cloud be the best place to run your MySQL and your Redis workloads. Cloud SQL, which is our fully managed relational database service for MySQL, Postgres, and SQL Server workloads, is used by more than 95% of the top 100 Google Cloud customers. Last month, we announced major new availability, performance, and data protection enhancements in Cloud SQL with the introduction of Enterprise Plus Edition for MySQL and Postgres workloads. We worked closely with customers, and the results speak for themselves. Cloud SQL Enterprise Plus for MySQL delivers up to 3 times higher read throughput and up to 2 times improvement in write latency compared to the Enterprise Edition. It also delivers 3 times higher performance than Amazon's comparable MySQL service. Now, in addition to boosting our MySQL performance with Enterprise Plus, we've also worked on supercharging our memory store for Redis offering with a brand new capability. Today, we're announcing the preview of our new fully managed offering, Memory Store for Redis Cluster. Memory Store for Redis Cluster is an easy-to-use, open-source compatible Redis cluster service that runs on Redis 7 and provides sub-millisecond latency with, get this, 60 times more throughput than the existing offering. Customers such as Palo Alto Networks tested Memory Store for Redis Cluster and found it to be easy to use, highly performant, and easily scalable. This is just another example of how we're making open-source compatible database services highly performant while simplifying the management experience. And finally, open doesn't just apply to our technology. It's also about developing an open ecosystem of partners. Today, over 1,000 partners power their applications using Google's Data and AI Cloud. And to reinforce our commitment to partners, we're excited to launch our new Google Cloud Ready for Cloud SQL program. This is a program that recognizes partner solutions that have met the integration requirements with Cloud SQL, and it joins our already existing Google Cloud Ready for AlloyDB partner program. Our Google Cloud databases are committed to helping you build modern, data-driven enterprise applications with an emphasis on being open. And now to close, I'd like to welcome back Andi.
Thank you, Ritika. As you can see from all we've spoken about today, the future of data and AI has endless possibilities.
Google Cloud databases offer an intelligent, unified, and open platform to support your Gen AI journey.
And we hope you found today's session insightful and inspiring. Here are 3 things you can do to learn more about these innovations. First, we have lots of deep dive sessions in the Database Professionals track.
Second, see the technologies in action at our demo showcase on the show floor.
And just talk to us Google Cloud experts. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Now here's a quick overview of what's new at Next and a list of other valuable learning experiences. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of Next.